Hey there, Sovereigns. Monica Grace here from Card Reading Queen, and today's topic is a bit juicy and one that I know a lot of people have questions about. Today we're talking about the hard truth of the runner-chaser dynamic between twin souls and how you can deal with this. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this runner-chaser dynamic, and there are so many different ways that we could approach this problem. But what I really want to do today is look at what is actually going on with the runner-chaser dynamic, why it happens, and why it happens so differently kind of over and over within the relationship. So one of the biggest confusions about the runner-chaser dynamic is why it happens to begin with, and a lot of that has to do with the energy field that I feel is best explored through the chakras. So as many of you know, we have 7 chakras that are the traditional ones. There is lots of talk of potentially more chakras than that, and that's great. So if you subscribe to that, wonderful. I'm speaking specifically of the 7 chakras. What I've seen on this journey is that the twin souls, as the union is triggered, they come to the chakras through different means. So the twin soul masculine tends to start at the base of the chakras. So they'll do the root chakra, then the sacral chakra, then the solar plexus chakra, and then finally the heart chakra. And so that's chakras 1 through 4, basically. And the feminine twin soul is actually coming down through the chakras. So she's starting at the top, and she's doing the crown chakra, then the third eye chakra, then the throat chakra, then the heart chakra. So this is basically chakras 7 through 4 in reverse order. And then, as my good friend Susan likes to say, the twin souls meet on the bridge of the heart. So that's basically the heart chakra. So understanding this journey and understanding how the twins align to each of these chakras is really helpful in understanding this runner-chaser dynamic. Basically, they enter these chakras in pairings. So as the feminine is working on the crown chakra, the masculine might be working on the root chakra. These pairings are actually very common in the chakras, and there's lots of knowledge about this already. So the throat chakra and the solar plexus chakra tend to pair together. For example, the third eye chakra and the sacral chakra also tend to pair together, and then the heart is kind of on its own. So a lot of this is rooted in what we already know about the chakras. Now, as each twin soul masters each of these chakras, it's affecting the other. And so what's happening is that they are at each level and each time you go through the chakras. And so there's basically 4 different phases of this, if you include the heart chakra, which is where they both end up. And you can see that these chakras, while they are paired together, the energies can be a little incompatible. So for example, the crown chakra and the root chakra they're both paired together, but they are somewhat incompatible with each other. The root chakra is all about safety and security. It's all about logic, rationality, trying to create a foundation. Whereas the crown chakra can feel a little bit pie in the sky. It's all about intuition. It's about communication with your higher source. And these 2 things, especially when looked at through the 3D, don't really match up. Actually, what the masculine and feminine are doing, they're trying to create the same thing. They're trying to align their energies in a very similar way. It's causing problems because their approaches are extremely different. So the masculine is probably approaching this root chakra and this foundation from the 3D perspective. The feminine is approaching it from the 5D perspective. And in reality, you need both of those, but the 2 are not communicating very well in terms of what they're both trying to create. So because of this, it creates that tension, and then it can create this runner-chaser dynamic as a result. So, and the runner-chaser dynamic, truthfully and in spiritual truth, if one of you is running, both of you is running. So there's not actually a runner and chaser, but it can look that way on the surface because what happens, the runner-chaser dynamic is really just a separation, a physical separation which is created because energetically you're both trying to work on different things. It's a purposeful distance so that you can both go off into your corners and work on certain aspects of the union. And then when you're able to come back together, you can integrate a lot of that with each other. But a lot of that working on and integration needs to happen separately. So if you're interested in this idea of using the chakras to better understand the masculine and feminine differences in this journey, make sure you check out some of my other videos on this. I have several videos about the masculine and feminine and how they move through the chakras and how it's a very different journey for each of them as a result, and some of the conflicts that come up because of that. So let's move on then and talk about some of the ways that you can heal this runner-chaser dynamic. The first one is what I call the 5U process. And so what this is, it's basically a framework that I created that explains healing in very simple terms in 5 steps. Those 5 steps are upset, uproot, unmask, union, and upheaval. And so what it does is it walks you through each of these 5 U's, starting with the upset. So being able to identify the upset, which is incredibly important to being able to heal it. And then it goes into uprooting the upset by understanding the false beliefs, unmasking the upset, and finding the truth that is not, obviously not in the 3D, the truth that's rooted in love and in your higher source and in the 5D, and in your spirituality. And then union, which is coming back into union with the universe, with each other, with your higher power, with yourself. And then finally upheaval, which is going to explain some of the after effects that happen and why even after you heal something, you're still struggling with it, or you're still maybe seeing more layers of it or having to go deeper with it afterwards. So the 5U process is a super powerful tool. If you're interested in it, you can go to cardreadingqueen.com/freebies and you can grab that freebie that explains that entire process. The second tool I have is called the reflection journaling practice. So this one is great if you just prefer to go through journaling questions. And the reason I created it is because I love journaling and I love just being prompted with different questions over and over again until I get to the root of my upset and the root of my healing. The reflection journaling practice, it combines a number of different other tools. So the Ho'oponopono exercise, so basically the forgiveness exercise. It combines some aspects of the mirror exercise, which is another thing created by Jeff and Shalea. And it just pulls in a bunch of different journaling practices that are really helpful and that have been helpful to me. So again, if you want that template, go to cardreadingqueen.com/freebies, because I offer exactly how to do that reflection journaling practice and how often I suggest doing it, how to know like when to do it, and then you can get all the prompts for it as well. And then the last one is the inner union framework. So this is actually quite a big body of work. It's not something that you can digest in a couple days. It's something that you'll want to take my course about, and that you'll want to just read more about in order to really deeply understand it. So what it is, it basically looks at the masculine and feminine on their separate journeys. It looks at how the masculine comes up through the chakras and how the feminine goes down through the chakras. It also looks at shifting from the story masculine to the divine masculine, shifting from the story feminine to the divine feminine. And then it looks at the different toxic patterns that the masculine and feminine can get into. And all of those patterns are rooted in the current 3D reality that we live in, which is a patriarchal society, and how both the distorted feminine and the distorted masculine have created this patriarchal society, and why that is falling away because we're shifting to what I call the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. And so as we shift to that, and as each individual person shifts into those new energies, the planet is actually realigning itself to a new type of system that will not be the patriarchy anymore. And so that body of work goes very deep. It's very exciting. There's nothing else, to my knowledge, like it on the planet. And if you're interested in that, again, I would go to cardreadingqueen.com/freebies, and you can look up my cheat sheet on that. But truly, if you want to get into that, I highly recommend my upcoming book and then also my upcoming course on the topic. And you can email me, team@cardreadingqueen.com, if you want to learn more about that as it starts to come out. And it's not out at the time of this recording, but you can get in touch with me if you want to be notified for when that comes out. So those are 3 different ways that you can start to heal this runner-chaser dynamic. Lots of amazing stuff in each of those ways. Each one offers lots of great healing tools and opportunities. The runner-chaser dynamic is a very complicated one. I'm actually going to do another video about it to explain some of the 3D reasons that this runner-chaser dynamic happens and what you can do about those as well. I hope this video was really, really helpful to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts on this, make sure you leave them in the comment section. Hope you have a beautiful day, and thank you so much for watching the video. See you in the next video.